Hello students, the question is, a string is wound around a hollow cylinder of mass 5 kg and radius 0.5 meter. If the string is now pulled with a horizontal force of 40 Newton and the cylinder is rolling without slipping on a horizontal surface, then the angular acceleration of the cylinder will be. Neglect the mass and thickness of the string. This question is taken from JEE Main 2019. Date of exam was 11 January, second half. Let's read the question again. The mass of this is a hollow cylinder, okay? This is a hollow cylinder. The mass of the cylinder is given 5 kg, simple, and its radius, suppose mass is m, radius is r, 0.5 meter. And the cylinder is pulled with a force of 40 Newton, which is applied at the top of the cylinder like this. This is the center O, and suppose the friction is acting between the cylinder and the ground. Now, what will be the direction of the friction? You can take the direction of friction in forward direction as well as in backward direction. Many of my students ask that, sir, how do you understand that the friction is in forward direction or backward direction? Yes, there is some formula for that, but you don't have to understand it. You just take any direction of friction as you wish. For example, I will solve this problem by taking friction in the forward direction as well as backward direction. If suppose we take the wrong direction of friction, then by solving the equations, the value of friction will come as negative, which will indicate that the direction you take is basically wrong. Okay, proceed to the next slide. This is the surface. This is the cylinder. A 40 Newton force acts like this, and I assume in this case the friction is acting in the forward direction. This is the friction. Okay. Now suppose the acceleration of the center of mass is A and the angular acceleration is alpha. Now for translational motion, I can say that 40 plus F, that is total force in the right direction, 40 plus F equals to mass into acceleration, right student? Now since it is given that the cylinder is doing pure rolling, then I can say from the definition of pure rolling that the acceleration of the center of mass should be equals to what? R alpha. This is the definition, that acceleration of the center of mass should be equal to the linear acceleration of any point at the circumference. Therefore 40 plus F equals to m into r into alpha. This is the first equation. Okay student, let's name it equation 1. Now coming to the for rotational motion. For rotational motion, we have to find the torque. Okay, let's find the torque. Suppose I take the torque of all the forces about point O, tau about O. Remember student, whenever you want to find torque about some point, don't forget to take all the forces. You have to find torque for all the forces acting on the body. Here, if I draw the cylinder here, what are the forces acting on the cylinder? One is its weight, right, like this. Second is the normal reaction between the cylinder and the ground. Third is this applied force 40 Newton, and the force is frictional force at the bottom, right student? Okay, now we want to find torque about O. See, for mg the torque will be 0 because the line of mg is passing through the point O. Similarly, for normal reaction also torque will be 0. I assume that the surface is not deformed. Now for 40 Newton, what will be the torque? For 40 Newton, the torque will be take the force and multiply the force with perpendicular distance of the line of action of the force from this point O, which is nothing but R. So the value of the torque for 40 Newton about O is 40 R, right student? Now what about its direction? Now for direction, suppose this 40 Newton force is only present, and just think that due to this 40 Newton force, the cylinder, the direction of rotation of the cylinder, it is like this, right student? And as you can see from this, from your point of view, that the cylinder is rotating in a clockwise direction, and I personally take clockwise direction torque as negative torque. Okay, now for friction F, the value of the torque is again friction into this capital R. This is the perpendicular distance, so value of torque due to friction is Fr. Now what will be the direction or sign, you can say? Suppose there is no other force, only F is present, friction force is present, and due to this frictional force the body tends to move in this direction, right, which is the anti-clockwise direction, and I will take anti-clockwise direction torque as positive torque. This is the total torque about O, right or wrong? Okay, this torque should be equals to I into alpha. What is I? I is the moment of inertia of the hollow cylinder about O, and alpha is the angular acceleration, which we are asked to find in this question. Therefore this will become F minus 40 into R equals to I alpha. Now there is a problem. I believe there is a problem. The problem is, don't take the torque, sign of the torque as positive or negative. I will suggest that, see, in this question the cylinder is rotating like this, that is the cylinder is rotating in clockwise direction. Therefore I can say that the clockwise torque should be greater than the anti-clockwise torque. So don't take that clockwise anti-clockwise thing, just look at the question like this. This 40 R, this torque should be greater than the Fr torque, since alpha is basically clockwise. So I will take the clockwise torque as positive because that should be greater in magnitude, right? Therefore there is a slight correction. The 40 R torque should be positive and Fr torque should be negative. So the equation will also changes a slight. So this is 40 minus F, right student? Now what is the moment of inertia? Moment of inertia of a hollow cylinder about its central axis is only mr square, right? Therefore 40 minus F equals to mr alpha. Make it equation 2. Look at equation 1. 40 plus F equals to mr alpha. 40 minus F equals to mr alpha. Therefore it is clear. So by solving I will get friction should be equals to 0. Correct? Proceed to the next slide. So 40 plus friction which is 0 equals to mr alpha. So alpha is what? 40 by mr. 40 by mr. Now putting the values of mass is given as 5 kg and radius 0.5 meter. So it will be 880 by 5, that is 16 radian per second square. So Look at the option. Option 2 is correct, 16 radian per second square. Now that is the answer. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel Phi Solver. Now let's assume that friction is not acting in forward direction like this diagram, but it is acting in the opposite direction, that is opposite to the direction of motion. Let's draw it again. Then the picture will look like this. Force is acting in the forward direction, 40 Newton, and friction is acting in the backward direction like this. The acceleration of the center of mass is A, and the angular acceleration is alpha about O. Now for translational part, the equation will be 40 minus F equals to ma. For pure rolling motion, A is what? A is R alpha, so mr alpha. This is the first equation. And for the rotational part, tau about O is what? For 40 Newton, the torque is 40 into R, and for this friction, the torque is F into R. And see, for 40 Newton, the body will rotate in this direction, that is in the same direction as alpha, and for F also, the body will rotate in the same direction, that is in the direction of alpha. So both the torque will add up, equals to I into alpha. So 40 plus F into R equals to I alpha. I is what? For hollow cylinder, I is mr square only. So 40 plus F equals to mr alpha. That is equation 2. Now if you solve this equation 1 and 2, you will again get F equals to 0. So it doesn't matter you take friction in the forward direction or in backward direction, but always friction will not be 0. Now if you take wrong direction, then automatically by solving you will get friction as negative value, which will indicate that the direction you take is basically wrong direction. The friction should be opposite to that direction, right? Just only one thing I can suggest, that if the external force is acting at the center, friction will always act in backward direction. There is no problem in that. But in all other cases, you can take friction in the forward direction as well as in backward direction. So in this way, you will also get the same value of alpha, that is 16 rad per second square. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel Phi Solver.